Hello, Joyful Geniuses. Welcome to this week's Joyful Genius Live. I'm Andrew Horder, founder of Joyful Genius Coaching. I've been helping people to find their genius and take it out there into the world, but more importantly, to truly step into their genius for probably the best part of a decade now, in one form or another. And these lives, they're really all about the steps that you need to take in order to really develop your genius, connect with your genius, and then take it out into the world. I talk about 3 steps to genius. I talk about step up to genius. This is the one where you actually own up to being a bit special at something. Step into genius, and that's where you go, you absolutely connect with your genius and you become it. You own your genius. And then step out with your genius, take it out into the world in a way that the people you want to be working with, the people who need to be working with you, get. So far, most of the lives have been on the step up to genius step. Now, for the next few weeks, we're going to move into the step into genius step. And this is all about really owning your genius, truly understanding what your genius is. So when I titled this one, the subject for this live was about sharing you at your best. The first thing you're going to need to do there, really, is to learn to access you at your best, to learn to understand what you at your best really is. And I found by far the best way to do that is through stories. It's through talking about times that you've been at your very, very best. And through doing that, realising what it was that you were doing at the time. Now this forms the core of, excuse the pun there, but this forms the core of the core process that I do these days with most of my clients. Core process we take stories from all aspects of your life that were going really well, when you were being you at your best, when things were absolutely sailing along, life was great, you were having a whale of a time, you knew you were making a great difference in the world, not just in your work, but in the world in general. And there's really kind of 3 aspects of your life that come into play here. I think there's your family life, so the people you interact with on a family basis. And when I went through the stories about me at my best, I realised there'd been a few times when I kind of believed in my brothers more than they did in themselves, and me helping them to see that, hopefully that succeeded. Well, it certainly has in some cases, but that was me at my best in a family context. There's also in, if you like, the business. Obviously, it's there in the business context. Throughout my career, whenever I've been at my best has been when I've been spotting the potential in people and helping them to step up to that and actually take it out and become it, own their potential, if you like. And also in social, there are times when in your social life you're going to be being you at your best. And for me, most of the time, that's where I've had friends who've had that little bit of self-doubt. I can see that they're brilliant. They actually know they're brilliant. And that's the slightly annoying bit for me. They know they're brilliant. They know they're really, really good at what they do. But they've got this little niggling self-doubt creeping in, and the whole, I'm not allowed to be big-headed thing. And just with a little bit of acknowledgement, encouragement, they've actually gone, you know what? I am good, aren't I? I am pretty brilliant. And I've had friends in all sorts of industries where they've been a little bit down on themselves, and I've just gone, come on, mate, you know you're good. Just own it. So those are the 3 aspects. Don't think about it all being about business. These stories, the stories that will help you to understand you at your best, won't all be business, because you at your best runs through every aspect of your life. It's not just about business. It can all be applied to business, but it's not all about business. Now, what are the stories that you want to be looking for once you've delved into them and you've got these stories and you've reminded yourself of you at your best, what are the kind of stories that are going to be important to you when you actually want to go out and share it with people? And what are the stories, therefore, that you need to really understand what was going on and how you were being brilliant, how you were being you at your best in those contexts? But there's a number of criteria there. One is that it's relevant, that it's actually relevant to the work that you're doing in some way. And that's, where I was talking there about, when I spotted that my brothers have been doubting themselves and I picked them up a bit, where my friends have been doubting themselves, and obviously where teams and staff have been doubting themselves. Those kind of things, those kind of little stories help me to explain to people how they get the best of me, and they help me to understand how I do that. And that is essentially by, frankly, giving a monkeys about people, caring that people step up and be everything that they want to be. And there's I won't the word want, don't even go into the word want, but let's say they would love to be, and they really would love to be, not they feel forced to be. This is not about forcing people to be more than they want to be. So the reason I go off on want is it originally comes from the word meaning lack. So if you want something, you lack it, and if you keep saying I want it, you're going to keep telling the universe that you lack it, and that's fine. So a better phrase, one I picked up from my friend Stuart Kerslake, is, what would you love? Yeah. So what are the things that you would love to be? Where was I going with that now? Yes, so the type of stories, okay? So they've got to be relevant to the work that you're doing if you're going to use these stories to understand you at your best. And sometimes you have a story of you absolutely at your best and you can't figure out how that fits with your work. That may mean you're not quite doing the right work. So do be willing to spot those opportunities, those possibilities as well. And maybe there's some stuff that you are really, really good at that you're not bringing into your work, and maybe you want to find some ways to do that. Now, the other kind of stories that are great, obviously, are the case study stories. They took this person from here to here, and I've done a little video about a kind of a case study. It's not an actual case study because of client confidentiality. I don't tend to talk about my specific clients, but I'll talk about that towards the end. But the case study ones are great. Now the other ones to think about are the testimonials. When have people said to you, "You're brilliant"? Now, just a little while back, I had a client turn around to me, and I asked a question, and I honestly don't know what that question was. But I was following the energy, I was following the thread of where the conversation was going. I just asked this question, and the client turned around to me and just said, "This is why you're worth your weight in gold." Now, I don't know what the question is, but I know what I was doing. I was following that energy. I was making sure that although we might go off on tangents, that we pull back to the core question that we were looking at, in order that the client would get the answers that they were looking for. And that's that's a great case study type, or sorry, testimonial type. The clients turn around to me and said, "You're worth your weight in gold." Okay, I need to look at that. When my clients are telling me I'm great, I need to look at those, and I need to understand what I'm doing in those circumstances, and so do you. So when your clients give you fantastic testimonials, by all means, rejoice, by all means, celebrate those fantastic testimonials, but also just take some time to go, what was I doing there that made that so great for my client? Particularly those unsolicited testimonials that just pop up out of nowhere. Not less so the ones where you go, "Please tell me I'm brilliant." Yeah, it's the ones where they turn around to you and they say, "You are brilliant." Yeah? And obviously the other stories that are important are those example stories where you can give a hard example of something that you did, or somebody who you helped, and the circumstance that they were in, which is an example of the circumstance that your current person or the people you want to be helping is. And when you look at those examples, again, look into them and understand what's going on for you in those that made you particularly able to help those people, whatever it was you were doing. Whether, in my case, I'd be asking them questions because I'm a coach. In your case, as a consultant, you might be giving them information. You might be laying out new knowledge for them in a different way. As a therapist, it might be a particular way that you apply manipulation or energy or whatever it is. But think about those when you've done great work. What's been the example that's going on behind that? Now, you may be too close to your work to know what you're doing at your best. So ask. Ask, ask, ask. Ask your clients what has been great about the work that you've done with them today. My coach always asks me at the end of every session, what have you loved about today's session, and what's been most useful about today's session? And they're not usually the same thing, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. So this is something to think about. Ask your clients, ask the people you work with, what it is that has really helped them. Because it may not be quite what you think it is, because you're just that bit too close, and you're applying the techniques, and they're experiencing your being. And 9 times out of 10, your genius lies in your being, not in the techniques and tools that you use, but it's who you are, who you show up as when you're delivering those tools, techniques, and knowledge. And the final thing about stories is give yourself that precious time to remember you at your best. This is one of the most powerful things of when I take someone through core process. It's that time to actually sit back and go, that was a fantastic time, and I was fantastic in that time. And that allows you to connect so much more deeply with who you are and who you're being when you show up you as your best. And then you can share that more effectively. But don't forget, right now we're talking about the step into stage. We're talking about really, really connecting with your genius so that you can share it more effectively. So you can share your true genius, not what you think it is. Because your true genius is what your clients experience. So remember to ask them, remember to give yourself the time to relive those times when you've been doing great work. Just for me, just in the course of this video, I've remembered back to that time when I was told I was worth my weight in gold. That was, reminded me I can be pretty damn good. Yeah. So if you want to get a feel for how, experiencing yourself in your genius, yourself at your very best, can really help you to connect with your genius, have a look at that video that I talked about, the sort of case study type video that I've done. It's aimed at where people are, where you are. If this is you, if you're a little bit confused about what your genius is, this will talk you through how I've taken clients from confused, lost their mojo, to absolutely owning their genius and truly knowing who they're supposed to be showing up as in the world and who they can be when they show up in their genius in the world. The link is joyful-genius.com/mojo, because they found their mojo. Okay, so it's joyful-genius.com/mojo. And I think that's me done for today. So tell yourself stories. Yeah? Use those stories to communicate, to articulate your genius to the people who need to know what you're brilliant at. But also use those stories to help yourself to remember who you are at your best, so that that's who you can carry on showing up as. So until next week, keep up the great work.